All right.
Welcome to the part 2 of the interviews for the 2v2 Mixed Faction Tournament. My name is Kurahi, I'm one of the main organizers, and here is Helping Hands and Devm. Hello,
Hello,
guys.
guys.
Hello.
Guys, it's a big honor that you guys are here, and it's a big honor for me personally that two legends of Co 1 and Co 2 are playing in a tournament, which I'm organizing. Let me just say that. Uh, please tell us about yourself. What do you do for a living? Do you have other hobbies? Play other main games? By the way, it doesn't matter who starts, so you can decide whatever you want to.
I guess Sans can start.
Okay. Well, hi everybody. I'm Helping Hands. My real name's James. I'm actually not German. For those who don't know, I'm British. Um, uh, so hobbies, I sometimes play the keyboard, but I've been really lazy of late, and I haven't really practiced it, so I really should do. I like to watch series, movies, and that kind of thing, like usual stuff. Other games I like playing are lots of general RTS games. I like a bit of PUBG as well, every now and then. And I guess I'm going back to Japan soon as well. I'm looking forward to seeing my mates in Tokyo and Sapporo soon. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and that's going to be in late January. So yeah, it's pretty good at the moment.
So a lot about the Japanese culture, right? Am I correct that? You like that
Yeah,
a lot?
so Japanese culture and like anime, the food, lots of
Anime's
different things. Yeah, there's lots of different reasons why I love. I really like Japan. At the same time, it's a love-hate relationship with Japan for me personally because it's very difficult to get your head around their society because it feels so backward being a Westerner. So that's some of the. So I guess it's some of the culture shock aspects that I find is quite difficult to deal with. But on the other hand, there's lots of good benefits as well. Like I said, like the food, my friends, all of those kinds of things. So yeah, it's a love-hate relationship.
Mm. Well, one thing it would interest me when you were in Japan, the young people, did they speak English, or did you meet somebody from Japan, like somebody in your age that didn't speak English? Because I've heard that
Yeah, there were
only yeah,
lots.
sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, there are lots of people that are very poor English speakers over there.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I've heard.
they know basic English,
Hmm.
like hello, good morning, thank you, and all those kinds of things, but they can't hold a conversation. Most Japanese people, even though I think they are taught English at school. So yeah,
Hmm. It's interesting because Japanese are such a, well, I would say competitive culture. I mean, competitive society. That it's interesting that they're like not learning English in school, or maybe it's. I mean, you say they learn English in school, but they don't really speak very good English. Like in Austria or in Germany, we learn basically school like 8 years or something. So it's
it might, you know what it might have been.
yeah.
I might be. It could always just be the area that I was in.
Okay.
Just the people that I met just didn't
Okay.
speak English because it might have just been like I might have just been at the wrong place at the wrong time when it came to
Mhm.
English-speaking Japanese people.
Mhm.
Because I do think they do. People that do speak English speak it quite well,
Mhm.
and they are very hardworking for sure. Like they're one of the everybody in the world. I think one of the Japanese are probably the most hardworking out of any country I can think of, really.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It's interesting. I
Yeah.
have a friend who is half Austrian, half Japanese, and he was telling me about this stuff as well. Okay, Devon, what about you? I know you're from Portugal. Uh,
That's right.
that's the only thing what I know about you. Tell us about yourself a little bit.
Well, my introduction, I don't think is as big as Sans. Well, basically, I am a computer science student.
Mm.
Um, Probably like on the weekends is the only time that I really have time to dedicate mostly to Company of Heroes and such games.
Mhm.
Um, Other than that, I play like casually, mostly League of Legends with friends and all. I don't intend to make a living of playing like maybe hands. um, so yeah, I mean, in the future I'm looking into maybe like programming games, which is kind of my long time dream, I guess.
Mm. is that easy in Portugal? Is there companies who
Um,
do that, or would you have to move out of Portugal?
it's hard in Portugal. Yeah, the industry isn't really that big here
Yeah,
yet.
and Austria as well. Yeah, there.
Yeah, so I
Mm,
guess it could kind of be a hobby kind of thing first, or if I
mm,
really wanted to go big on it, I would
mm,
probably have to leave, I guess, Portugal.
mm, mm. Okay, pretty cool. You're both top level 1v1 players. Do you see big differences skill wise from 1v1 to other game modes? What is your opinion about exhausting? I mean, we all agree that CO2 playing can be so exhausting. In my opinion, it is, mentally and especially physically. Is there any difference in 1v1 to the other game modes in that kind of aspect?
Um, I think that it depends. It depends on the level we are talking about. I think that because Company of Heroes isn't like a big game in terms of player pool,
Mm-hmm.
that 1v1 has evolved much more than 2v2. Also because of the just amount of tourneys that there is for 1v1 compared to 2v2, just
Mm.
the skill level of 1v1 is much higher. I think
Mm-hmm.
for that's the bigger difference, I would say. Um, as for the other question, can you repeat it again?
Now it's
I
you
forgot.
would say definitely in 1v1 there is a lot of big difference in skill wise to like 2v2, 3v3,
Yeah, but
4v4.
you had some other question, didn't you?
Yeah, the opinion about the exhausting. So, playing a 1v1 on top level, is it as exhausting or is
It's
it?
exhausting, yeah.
It is more
Uh,
exhausting.
I I think that at some point, to be honest, I'm not sure if fans feel the same way, but at some point, you have played so much Company of Heroes that it becomes more mechanical, like it's already all automized, if you know what I mean. So it
Mm,
becomes less stressful, I guess.
mm,
Or
Yeah.
I would say that some years ago, if I were to play I would say, let's say 6 games one after another, that I would be much more exhausted. But after some time, you just get more used to it, I guess.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Hans.
Well, yeah, I'd say, yeah, I kind of agree with Devm there. I think 1v1 is definitely a lot more exhausting than any other game mode because the other game modes you can rely on your teammates to fill in
Mm,
for your mistakes, pretty much, or you vice versa.
mm,
So 1v1, it's all down to you. If you make a mistake, no one's going to come to your aid and help rectify that mistake that you made. So if you make it,
mm,
you got to have to learn and you got to improve yourself. That being said, though, I find that 2v2 especially is a lot more fun than playing 1v1 for
mm-hmm.
probably for one of those reasons, because it's just not as stressful because
Mm-hmm.
you got friends to rely on, and also because 2v2, if I had to choose between 1v1 and 2v2, I'd probably pick 2v2 because
Mm-hmm.
the reason why it's not as competitive at the moment is because there's just not that, this is like really one of the first tournaments that has been like really made for 2v2, and beforehand it wasn't really that well organized. This game's been out for so many years now, and we've not really had like a proper
Mm,
competitive 2v2 scene like we had in Co 1. Because
mm,
I remember, if you remember back for Company Heroes 1, you had like the Scotch brothers, you had like all the clans, you had like WMD, you had
mm,
Reborn, you had the Russian guys as well, and
mm,
Devon with Insane, Aimstrong and himself. But
mm,
yeah, and also with 2v2, it's a lot more things can happen in a 2v2. There's a lot more potential for combining strategies, factions can complement each other quite well. Like,
mm-hmm.
as for instance, the Ostia can build caches for OKW so that they can get more resources and those kinds of things. So there's a lot more that can happen in a 2v2 that can't happen in a 1v1, and that's why I prefer 2v2 over
Mm-hmm.
1v1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what Hans just said is basically also a little bit part of my third question. So you already said, Hans, that you like 2v2 game mode more than 1v1. Devim, you are 1v1 player mostly. How do you like the balance and matter of the 2v2 though? And now I say as well what Hans says. In my opinion, the 2v2 is the best game mode of the game at the moment, at least. Uh, which, just because of the meta and of course of the balance at right now. When we made the tournament, it was kind of a progress. Me and Hooligan basically, we just like thought about what can we do, how can we make the whole the problem with the meta right now, and is, of course, then we had the idea of banning double OKB because that is just like so strong. And but question to you, Devm, is you're 1v1 player. Why you only mostly played 1v1s? Is there any reason? Only because of the competitive scene, or is there as well another reason?
Hmm. It's mostly that I find 1v1 more fun just because you can push your advantages as a player more so than in 2v2. Let's say that, for example, you are playing USF, which is a really aggressive faction. Just it works much better in 1v1. You feel like you have more control of what's happening in the game. And that for me is like really appealing, you know, as a player. It's not that I dislike 2v2. I like the aspect of team play of 2v2, which, well, there's a lot of it in League of Legends as well. But as like a competitive thing, I just prefer to play 1v1 over 2v2 just because it's I guess you can better show off what you are capable of. You're really not dependent on anyone else, like Hans mentioned before. And like the meta in 1v1 tends to be more how would I call it? It tends to be more about the players themselves than the factions, if that makes any sense. In 2v2, just because you have that teammate and you just have that different faction on your side that can like help cover some weaknesses of the faction itself. It's like it changes the how you play the game a bit, and I'm just not that fond of it. Although I find it fun, obviously. So that's why I gravitate towards more 1v1 than 2v2.
So you're more the lone wolf, let's just say it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, okay, so you're more the lone wolf. Hans, you play a lot of 4v4s as well, mostly but for sub days. You play 1v1, you have also played a lot of tournaments in that way, so I mean, you basically have already answered the question, so 2v2, you would say this is the best one. How do you like the balance and the meta at the moment in 2v2? Like, would you say it was a good decision banning double OKW? Or
yes.
What would you say? Like at the beginning, we were like, okay, we are banning OKW completely and the Brits. What would you say? Would that be a better choice, or is our current decision
banning
a better
Brits?
one?
I'm not sure if Brits are considered overpowered. I don't know why anyone would consider to ban Brits, because I definitely think the OKW are pretty strong. I don't know if it's people thinking that emplacements are just too easy to do. I guess it is for people that haven't got any skill that'll just do emplacements, but anyone that's got a brain can easily counter them. So I think Brits are fine. Really, they haven't got any unit that's, you know, it used to be like, for instance, the land mattress with its reload ridiculous about barraging. But that got nerfed. Most things have been nerfed now for the Brits, and I think they're in a good place now. Even the Firefly is getting a further nerf in this next patch, which I'm kind of curious on, because it doesn't seem to be too, you know, OP. But I guess if all the Axis tanks are getting a nerf as well, I guess it's okay. And it'd probably be encourage more gameplay on the early, like the mid-game tanks and, you know, mid-game infantry. But I also want to touch on 4v4 as well. Like you said, I did play a bit. I do enjoy playing 4v4 as well. You know, I would absolutely love it if we could do, you know, if there was a competitive 4v4 scene. But that's just not. It's just basically not possible, really, with a game like with an RTS game. You don't even see it with StarCraft. Let alone, I don't think I've really ever seen competitive 2v2 in StarCraft.
Yeah, there isn't. Although I think my biggest problem with 4v4s in Company of Heroes is really the fact that the game isn't that well optimized, and
yeah, that's true. It's not well
than the other
optimized.
people. I know how it feels.
It's just getting 4 people together as well. Sorry, 8 people together. So, you know, at certain times to organise this, you know, a tournament. And you know, it's just, you know, anyone that's playing 4v4 is just, you know, you and your mates. And you know, a lot of people, you know, average skill players love to just jump on and 4v4 because it's a great time to have some fun with mates. That's how I got into the game, actually. You know, got into the competitive scene because I was playing like 3v3s with my friends, and we're all around about the same skill level. And then I got better and better, and I started beating my mates, and I wanted a real challenge, and that's when I switched to 1v1. Yeah, I definitely think, you know, my real passion and where I found the fun in Company Heroes was in the bigger game modes, because it was a lot of fun coordinating with friends and stuff.
That already kind of remembers me of one of the questions I've already asked Von Ivan and Price. And so, how was your enter to the Co2 or Co1 franchise? Tell us about that a little bit. I mean, maybe we can come back to it if you guys want to, but that would also interest me. Now let's just keep that question in my mind. I'm going to ask you the next question because we're already into the 2v2 game of balance and matter. Well, will you tell us, both of you, will you tell us your favorite faction commanders in 2v2? Is there any, I mean, I guess, Devm, you will play USF, is that correct? You don't have to tell us. You don't have to tell us if that's secret.
Like, favorite commanders is, for me personally, like, because
Yeah,
I'm not
into 2v2, though, into 2v2. I know you will, yeah.
Can you repeat that?
Now, I know you like to play USF forces in 1v1, but now think about the 2v2 game mode. Will you just like transform that into 2v2, or will you think about something else?
I think that USF in 2v2 needs a little bit of a different approach when it comes to commanders, but other than that, I think that I'll be fine with my playstyle if I'm just not rusty, I guess, as I was last time I played with Hans. As for the austere side of things, well, basically last time I played with Hans, I still had the 1v1 commander, so I can't talk very much about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of those 2v2 commanders, although I recognize that, well, they are meta for a reason, like the one with the elephant.
Mm.
Yeah, usually I'm more for commanders that are like aggressive, like the Puma on the mobile one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to say, to answer your question, for USF, I'll definitely have to change the commanders. And for example, just don't think that USF without for example, how is it called, commander with Calliope? I don't recall the name. But
Calliope is
USF.
banned though.
Oh really? Well, I'll have to look into those. But USF as a faction, it doesn't work as well as the others in changing the game mode.
Yeah.
So it just needs to be different to the meta, I guess, I use with the faction.
Alright, okay. Hans, I guess Fritz and OKW?
Possibly.
Okay.
That's what I have been playing lately, but there's by no means it's guaranteed that I'm going to play those factions.
Yeah.
Just in case any of those, like Nagano and Von and Price and everybody's watching right now thinking, they're going to be playing this faction. No.
No, that's okay. When I wrote the questions, I was like, well, it's going to maybe I can lure some informations out. But one thing would interest me now. So Hans, you know that Devm is kind of the aggressive player. Will you try to adapt that? Will you try to kind of rethink, or are you guys just playing your kind of way? Or it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think we'll try and complement each other's play styles. I guess when it comes to the games, we do need to do a little bit more practice because we haven't really done much gaming together lately because Devon's got his university stuff to work on, and he's only available on the weekends. But when we have played though, like the one time that we did play, we managed to beat Nagano and Scotch.
Yeah.
And we didn't, and we were losing loads of like Grens and Volks together, and we still managed to win that game. I think we're pretty. I think by doing that, I think we're pretty confident because even without much practice, we can still beat Nagano and Scotch, which are pretty much playing a lot. So we'll be. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, that was, in my opinion, one of the best 2v2 games I've ever seen. It was really, really great game to watch. Hopefully to play as well. Yeah, I was hyped about that game. When I saw that game, I was really hyped. It was so awesome. Yeah, let's just talk a little bit about the map pool and commander bans. Well, when we wrote all the tournament stuff, it was, of course, we didn't know that there was coming a patch and maps are going to be changed. So let's just talk about the map pool. We have right at the moment. Maybe there will be some changes. So the map pool, I will just copy paste it to you on TeamSpeak, I think. I will also read it out loud on the chat. So we have. Do you see that?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Minsk Pocket, Rails and Metal, Walks Farmlands, Ulster Outskirts, Crossing in the Woods, Hamlet, The Moscow Winter, Moscow Outskirts Summer. Is there any map you would say like this is one of my favorite maps, or is there one map you say I hate this map completely? Like Von Ivan said, The Moscow Winter is the map he hates the most. I think Price said Hamlet. Yeah, Price said Hamlet. Is there any map you don't like or you like?
Well, for me as a USF player, Mince Pocket kinda has a bad meaning, but other than that.
Okay. Well, Crossing in the Woods, you know that from the 1v1, so I guess you kind of know that games.
Yeah, well, I would say, for instance, any map that would be biased towards one faction. So I think, well, Crossing in the Woods is generally considered as an Axis favoured map. But I'm not really. I think allies can do all right on that map.
Sorry.
I'd say Hamlet as well. I would probably say the same thing as Price and Von Ivan. Hamlet is too small. I'm not a fan of that map. It needs to be bigger. And Samosky is generally ally favoured because it's all close quarter combat around the central houses and stuff, and that generally favours the allies. I'd probably Hamlet and Samosky are probably the ones I'm not keen on. But yeah.
Okay. Interesting. I really like Elst Outskirts. Elst Outskirts is a really great map in my opinion. Rails and Metal, I like that map as well. I mostly always veto Hamlet as well. Because I think in South you have a big advantage than in North, in my opinion. Moscow Outskirts Summer is as well the big trouble that we have, like one side is in a big advantage than the other side. So yeah, I would say we will see a lot of Rails and Metal, Elst Outskirts. Minsk Pocket is a popular map. So I think those are the maps we will see a lot. The rest is we will just see. Let's talk a little bit about the commander bands. I will also copy and paste them. I forgot to do that in the beginning. I'm sorry, guys. There we go. So, commander bands are Lend-Lease, defensive tactics, so basically only because of the Dushka. Counterattack tactics is for the Motherland. Tactical support is the Calliope. Breakthrough is the Jagdtiger. Special operations is the Command Panther. I did say last time I had it, I said Jagd Panther. Now it's the Command Panther. We have Lightning Boar, which is of course the Stuka bomb, Stuka thing. Jäger Armor is Elephant with Stuka bombing strike. We have the Advanced Emplacement Regiment, which is a commander I hate because there's no skill. You need no skill in that one, in my opinion. Special Weapons Regiment is mainly because of the fear we had of the penal battalions with Vickers. That might be a lot of problem as to be abused. And then we have the Royal Artillery Regiment. A lot of people ask me why Royal Artillery Regiment. It's only because of that 4 CP arty strike. You know it? You know that one? It's where you don't need sight, you just can basically shoot in the fog of war. Yeah.
Yes,
your opinions, please.
Okay.
So you start Hans, I guess.
Okay. Well, overall, it seems that the Axis are stripped of their long-range anti-tank capabilities with the removal of the Jagdtiger and the Elephant.
There's one elephant left. One elephant is left.
Oh, one elephant is left. Okay,
Yes.
then. Okay, my bad.
No worries.
But yeah, it seems pretty painful for the Axis to lose that amount of long-range AT capability, and then none of the allied like ISU 152's commanders I don't think have been removed, and so basically is giving the allies a pretty big advantage when it comes to
I'm not
long-range.
sure how strong Lend-Lease was on 2v2, since I'm not a 2v2 player.
Yeah, it's complicated, of course. The Dushka is a good unit, which you can just abuse. The problem with the ISU is We were thinking about as well the ISU. We were talking about the right now matter. Right now, not because after the patch, So we are not going to use the changes of the December patch into this tournament. Let's just make that sure. The problem is with the ISU is that it doesn't hit a lot, in my opinion. But of course, we're still open in banning one ISU commander, or maybe both if it's necessary. Yeah, we're still open-minded. So Hans, you said
Okay.
like a lot about the ISU, so you would ban the ISU.
Well, no, well, you don't really see ISUs that much because it's just there's better meta stuff to do like than least, but they're still pretty strong. The other day I was up against an ISU and it was one-shotting my squads all day long,
Yeah.
and it can be very very frustrating. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if one of the if you got one Austere commander with an elephant, then that's okay. But then I'm thinking actually, well, then it's obvious what commander the Austere guy is going to pick from the when you against the allies. So you might have lost your element of surprise there. So I'm not 100% sure that like I'm considering what might be the best thing is just to like force everybody to play on the new patch with the workshop and just keep all the commanders. So that way it wouldn't be a problem. And then anything that hasn't been touched by the patch notes, for instance, I think the Royal Artillery Regiment, where you can fire it through the fog of war without having to see anything, I think that one has not been touched. That needs so maybe ban that one. But anything that's clearly broken, then like that one, then that needs to go. But yeah, I think just play on the commanders. I think would be better.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the same opinion.
Okay. Well, there's still 1 month time. Of course, the problem is we would have to make a decision soon because we want to give the people time to train. So I guess that's okay for me. Yeah, it's always like when we wrote the commander bans, I wanted to ban the Yak Tiger because I thought it's a special unit which I don't really like because the frontal armor is so inoperable, you have to flank it and everything. After the patch, I think it's better now, so maybe we'll just decide to rework that. So I'm open-minded to that. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Any more words about commander bans, map pool? Should we
I think it's fine.
skip to the next one?
I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I have 2 questions for both of you, but of course you can answer both to each question. Devm, you already said you play a lot of League of Legends. Well, you said you play casually, but as far as I know that you play a lot of League of Legends. So you play an MMO. Is that an MMO? Yeah, it is an MMO. Could you please kind of tell your opinion about skill-wise, because a lot of people say these kind of games like League of Legends, Dota 2, you need more skill than an RTS. Would you agree or disagree to that opinion?
Well, I disagree. I think it depends. StarCraft 2, for example, is a big example of an RTS that needs a lot of skill. I think that maybe what that argument is going for it is that League of Legends is a team game, and many of these RTS competitively are played 1v1. So you are more dependent on really your decisions and your skill, and not as much on teamwork, because in League of Legends what happens is that you can have 5 players that are individually better than the others, but as long as the other team is better at team play, they'll eventually, win the game. And that same thing doesn't hold true for the competitive side of RTS, which is mostly 1v1. What I do think is that in what comes, for example, for Company of Heroes versus League of Legends, both games have a lot of knowledge that you need to have to be good at the game.
Yeah, true.
And mechanically, I would say that probably Company of Heroes is harder than League of Legends. I mean, I think that it's different. Like in League of Legends, you need more reflexes than on Company of Heroes. But overall, you need more speed and it's harder to keep tabs on everything that's going on if you are playing an intense match of Company of Heroes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hmm.
Hans, any words on that?
Yeah, I can kind of see. I mean, I've always thought that, Company Heroes is a game of strategy, and like compared to like something like StarCraft, which is a game of. I mean, it's you can do strategy with StarCraft, but it's more about who can click faster with their APM and who can execute their strategy because everybody knows the timings and everything. It's just who can multi-manage everything as fast as possible. Whereas Code, there's a lot more depth into it because you've got veterancy, you've got suppression, you've got grenade, all these different types of things, off-map artillery, you got to count, all loads of different extra cover, true sight, blah 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 that StarCraft doesn't have. So there's a lot more depth to Company Heroes than first meets the eye. And I do think that in a high-level game of Company Heroes, when you're trying to fight on 3 fronts at once and it can get really hectic, then yes, it's very challenging indeed. Not to discredit any StarCraft 2 players because I definitely think StarCraft 2 does require a lot of skill. Play, I think it's probably a lot more harder to get to a high level of StarCraft than it is with Company Heroes. With all that, I don't know how they can click that fast. Basically, I guess it's just like I said with Co's practice, but I guess the same thing can be said of StarCraft.
Mm-hmm. I just had a thought in my mind. I just think I forgot it. No. Well, I would say that StarCraft 2. I mean, I played it. I really never played it competitively. The thing is with StarCraft, of course, everybody says it's macro-management. Go-to, yeah. And now I remember the thought I had in my mind. And then we had Go-to, which is, in my opinion, a lot of macro-management. Especially if you play with snipers, you need a lot of macro-management. Yeah, Devon.
Yeah. I was going to say that a big difference between Company of Heroes and StarCraft, and why I think it's harder to apply what you learn in StarCraft to Company of Heroes in terms of like the fast paced kind of plays that the players make there, is that in StarCraft, because there is like no luck involved, you always know without like keeping tabs on the unit what's going to happen off screen. While in Company of Heroes there's always that luck factor, and that's why it's harder sometimes to really have that, I guess, fast speed to everything, because you need to always be keeping tabs on a certain engagement, which is really hard then to micromanage everything.
Yeah, the question would be, if you guys would have had the chance to kill RNG in KO2, would you do it? Yes or no?
No.
I'd say no.
Yeah.
Both say no, really?
Yeah.
It's
You
interesting.
can hate on RNG, but that's what keeps Company of Heroes being Company of Heroes, I guess.
I hate on RNG a lot, but I feel like there's some good aspects of RNG. Like for instance, like a tank bouncing on the frontal armor of something. It makes sense that it sometimes might pen, sometimes might not. And you've always got to calculate that risk. You could always send, you got a 20% health tank, you could charge it in there, trying to finish your opponent's 20% tank off, but then you take that risk, because you might hit, or you might bounce, and he might hit and he might bounce. And then you could, it's up in the air, but you took the risk to go chase it. You don't have to, you could always reverse back and repair up and try again later. What I don't like about RNG is the one-click abilities. Like for instance, artillery strike coming down, the first shot of an artillery round or a mortar round, and nailing a squad instantly. You can't counter that, and that's not really fair. So anything that kind of RNG, I wish wasn't in the game. But I think some elements of RNG are pretty decent because it makes it interesting. You never know what's going to happen.
So mortar hits, yeah, mortar hits is a really big trouble. I kind of always think that, in my opinion, that the mortars shouldn't be different. Like I would say the Wehrmacht mortar at the moment is the strongest mortar. In my opinion, it's stupid that they're different. Like right now, the USF mortar is weaker. British emplacement are still quite good.
I'm not sure about the mortars, but I agree that every faction should have like some units that are should always be there and equal to each other, like the snipers and flamethrowers on engineers, for example. So I think that in that sense, I think that some units should have the same strength or always be there for a faction.
Having Hans, you play a lot of RTS games. You specialize a little bit in that as well in your stream. You play as well other games as well, but I would say you're with like the Total War series. You play a lot of those. Yeah, Foxhole is not really an RTS game, but other games as well, of course. It would interest me. What do you think is the future for RTS?
A lot of people think RTS is still like dying, but I think it's making a bit of a comeback. I think what's happening. Everybody's playing MOBAs at the moment, right? League of Legends, Dota 2, so on and so forth. But how long is that going to last? Well, people get bored of games, and I think I still think they're going to be popular, but I think more and more people are going to want to find something new. And I think a lot of people that did play MOBAs did play RTS games back in the day, and people do remember the good old days of like Dungeon Keeper, Populous, and the original Red Alert. And the original StarCraft, Age of Empires. Like we got Age of Empires 4 coming out soon. Made by Relic Entertainment, and also obviously, as we all know, makes Company Heroes. So that's good to look forward to. I think there's lots of indie developers making new RTS games every year, and I don't think the genre is dead by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's making a comeback, and I really hope so as well, because it's one of my favourite types of games, game genres.
Would you, Devm? Sorry, your opinion?
Yeah, I'm just agreeing with Hans. I think that RTS is not a genre that is going to die off. I think that, but maybe needs just some adaptation. For example, StarCraft 2 went free, and that really helps out with keeping like a large player base. Other than that, I'm not like seeing RTS getting off the market. I agree with Hans. I think that RTS will make its comeback eventually.
I mean, a big trouble of RTS is we all know the current problem of the video game industry is well, how should I say this, is the loot boxes problem. That companies make a game and then they just want to.
Loot boxes are a cancer on the gaming community at the moment, as we all know, with Battlefront 2 and Call of Duty with their loot boxes. It seems like every big AAA developer are now doing loot boxes, and they don't understand their communities anymore, and it's just absolutely frustrating. I was saying this on stream the other day, and I've said it a few times before, but the only way this is going to change is if everyone who's big in gaming, all the big Twitch TV guys like Co-Carnage and stuff, and everybody else who you can think of, and all the big gaming publishers like PC Gamer Magazine and all those kinds of things, got together and started boycotting these developers that are making these horrible types of systems for games, then nothing's going to change. Everybody's going to still play the same old games, even though they hate it, because everybody else is doing the same. So there's not, unless there's a big swing in the gaming community with a big a kind of petition or a boycott like that, nothing's going to change, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's a big trouble. It's a trouble of the video gaming makers of making money and making a good product. And I would say that as well a lot, that the players have changed as well. I would say like the players 10 years ago were completely different than players right now. Like it's a good example is the Call of Duty game right now, when they were like when they make a lot of when they first announced it, and it was like, we are going back to the roots, back to the roots and everything, and I was hyped. I was really looking forward to that.
Same.
World War II first-person shooter, and I played the beta for like 1.5 hours, and I was so disappointed because it's the same Call of Duty speed run stuff, it's just terrible. And I would say that that like one of the Microsoft, I think one of the Microsoft big person there, I don't know the name, she said that single player games with really good stories it's not going to be important anymore. And I would disagree a lot there. Just look at games from Sony next year, 2018. I've told you a lot about them, Johans. it's amazing what they're doing. They're making a lot of single player games.
Just look at Witcher 3.
Yeah,
Witcher 3 is
exactly.
entirely a single player experience,
Exactly.
and that is the one game of the year, and it's one of
Yeah.
the best
Yeah.
looking games I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like I think that that alone speaks volumes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's some people are making a lot of mistakes. Let's hope that the gaming community sticks together, and we really boycott. I mean, I'm not buying Call of Duty World War 2. I gave the money back to Steam. So I think that's one of the chances there. Okay, let's come back to the tournament. Are you going to use TeamSpeak or Discord? Both of you?
To communicate with each
Yes.
other. I
Yeah.
think
Sorry.
there's-
Yeah. About the game. About the tournament in the game. Yeah.
Oh,
Probably
I don't know.
Discord.
Probably Discord, yeah. I guess
Okay,
on my
but
Discord, I
so
guess.
voice communication you think is important to use?
I know I think so, but I think Devm doesn't care which I think.
Yeah, I don't care which.
No, I mean, but it is important to talk because, like Nagano and Scotch, especially, they don't use voice comm at all.
I think that in Company of Heroes you can get a bit away with that, but overall I think that it gives you a slight advantage to, like, if you can talk to your teammate.
Okay.
Yeah, you could definitely, like, if you're typing something, you're not hotkeying anything, and if you're typing, then you're distracted. But if you could just speak, you can do two things at once. So I think definitely. I don't know why they seem adamant about and proud even to say that they don't use.
Yeah, they're
that
proud.
They type to
That's-
each other
that's why I'm
rather
asking
than
that,
use
you know?
voice comms. I'm pretty shocked at why they would do that. Why would they not take the advantage of being able to talk to one another? Maybe it might be. I don't know if Scotch speaks Russian. I know or
No.
where he's from.
Scotch is
maybe-
from France.
That difficulty there because they might not be both
Yeah.
natural English speakers. That's probably why. But yeah, I definitely think that voice definitely all the way. You could
Yeah,
definitely
everybody
get more
who
information.
has played with you, Hans, and I have played a lot with you. It's every time when I play with Hans, it's terrible for Hans because when I'm focused, when I'm really concentrated, I don't speak, and Hans hates that. It's like we had our games there. I know. We have both met each other 2 years ago, and we have 1 year ago, and we are going to meet again. It's awesome to play with you. It's awesome to know you, but of course I think it's always important the chemistry between players. I think this is why I think Nagano and Scotch, they are just like a perfect match to each other. They know exactly what the other is going to do. But yeah, it's interesting how people are different in that way. I'm going to ask the same question to Theodosis and Thanatos. It's going to be interesting what their opinion is. But yeah, voice communication is of course always important. But what I've heard, or what I think is when I play, is what kind of communication or what you talk is important. Like, I hate when somebody says all the time, "Oh shit," This is something what we need to know.
It's the same, like for instance on PUBG as well. Like that's a good game where you need communication. If people are just saying, vague stuff like, "Oh, they're on the main road," or they're on, they're behind that tree over there, or there's a tank. There's a tank that's come out onto the field. Like you need to be like, you want to know where, like how many, direction they're moving. You need specific communication. When you've just got garbage chatter where the people are just like complaining and stuff, and it's just or very useless chatter. It can be very annoying as well as harmful to the team, because if someone's trying to give out important information and someone is like shouting over them like, "Oh fuck, I just lost this," then that's going to hurt the team, for instance. So yeah, definitely clear communication and concise communication and short communication as well is good.
Devm, you're more of a lone wolf. What do you What do you think now when you hear that?
Well, I am a little bit like Hans. I don't think that those kinds of I guess people that like to talk about their experience at the moment with the game, like when a person says "oh shit," they aren't really giving the right information, the information that you want. I think I'm not sure if you saw the game where I played with Hans, where we did like a full tank attack on the enemy that they had 2 packs up. Not sure if you were there, but that's the kind of communication that you want. That's useful for the team. So when a person doesn't relay that information like you want it to, it can really set the team back. So what you want is say what's useful, and try to communicate with your teammate how you can use that information well, which really you don't do if you're playing with a person that is basically reacting to how the game is going.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I would agree there. So I would just come to my last question. Many other top teams are playing in this tournament. Which one is the team you don't really want to meet because, like, okay, those guys are like kind of, they're like, they know our weaknesses, and which of those teams you really want to meet? The thing is kind of, you guys know that, of course, you're both kind of popular in some people. I guess you guys know that everybody like wants to beat you. So how do you feel about that pressure? Is it a pressure, or is it just like I don't care?
Well, I can't speak for Hans, but I don't feel any pressure whatsoever, just because people don't expect much from me coming into a V2 scenario, I guess.
Yeah.
And as for the teams to beat, I'm not really fully aware of the teams that are on, but if I had to say a team that I would want to avoid, it's really Nogano and Scotch, because I know that they are the strongest team to V2 wise, and I just don't want to meet them until the finals.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, I'm not pressured. I think that we could beat anybody to come up against. We've beaten everybody at least once in 1v1 anyway, who we potentially could come up against. So yeah, and the fact that we're both together now, is just I think we've got the advantage because people are going to be just scared of us just coming into the fight.
Yeah,
so yeah,
definitely.
They've got something to prove. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I would say this is the end of my questions. I kind of want to say it's a little bit of a nostalgic thing. When I first played Co1, I think it was, I was a little guy and I was watching Hans on stream, and I was like, oh my god, Helping-Hans, such a wonderful, great player. And of course you as well, Devm. I started already with that. I'm really honored that you guys are playing in my tournament. I can't say that enough. Thank you very much for that. I hope you guys have a lot of success in the tournament. Good luck with training. Last thing would be, how do you like the interview? Would you say yes, that was good, or was there something that you say like this was terrible, don't do that again? I know it's not professionally done, I know that, but it's like I'm just like, it's like the first thing was like, oh my god, the birds will do a lot of noise, but I think they were pretty good. They're sitting in the cage right now and sleeping. No, just keep talking. What do you think of the interview?
I think that you asked the right questions. There wasn't really anything more that you could have asked in what comes to the V2 tourney coming up. Although you did forget to ask us how our experience began. You forgot the question.
Pardon?
Yeah, you were going to come back to that.
Which one? Oh yeah, I think I forgot something. Yeah, I forgot one question. Yes, okay. Well, never mind. We are already recording so long, so I think it's good. Hans?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you did really well. Good questions. I think to improve, I'd say maybe instead of just asking the question broadly to both people, I'd say Devm, what's your thoughts on this? Because you generally asked the question, and then we either myself or Devm had to speak up because we didn't know who wanted to go first.
Okay.
So if you say to the person, okay, Hans, what's your thoughts, or Devm, what's your thoughts? Then it'll be a bit more clearer on who's going to answer your question.
Okay.
But yeah, good overall.
I'm always happy for good constructive
Feedback.
criticizing, I think it is. No, thank you very much for doing this. Guys, thank you very much for joining in. This was part 2 of the interview session with Helping-Hans and Devm. I hope we will continue with next teams, and good luck if you're in the tournament, and thank you very much for joining.